Good morning and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. We are broadcasting live this morning from beautiful Cape May, New Jersey, which is not very beautiful right now because it is raining. But we are coming to you via SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio and TV. I'm your host, the business diva, Melanie Collette, and I hope you all are doing well this fine Monday morning. If you've ever seen the movie, it's a great movie, by the way. You've ever seen this movie, especially if you've ever worked in any kind of business or office. And if you've ever seen the movie Office Space, there's this one very annoying character who always goes around saying, I think you have a case of the Mondays, but she says, the Mondays? That totally describes me this morning. I have a serious case of the Mondays. I'm not even like totally sure that it's Monday. Like I'm reasonably sure, but but I think I have a serious case of that for real. But I'm gonna try to muddle through and make this the best show possible. Case of the Mondays. Oops, case of the Mondays and all. So that's what we're doing this morning. Our guest this morning is body language expert, keynote speaker, and champion athlete, Traci Brown. Very excited to have her with us this morning. She has not joined. Now, if you were here Friday, you saw that I'm doing this, I'm doing video with my guest now. Oh, here she comes. Ding dong. Good morning. Hi, Traci. I was just doing
Hey, how are you?
Thank you for joining us. I was actually just talking about you. Yes. Yes, it's the opening of the show, and I was talking about how we're using this new technology. So for you, those of you who are listening on Spreaker and are like, what in the world just happened? I will tell you what just happened. I am doing this video thing, which is what I was just explaining, that we tried starting video starting Friday. It worked out really well, so I'm doing it again. And I really wanted to try it because I had this body language expert coming on Monday, which is Traci Brown. So anyway, it's a good morning to you.
Hi.
I was also explaining that you ever seen that movie Office Space, and there's that one annoying character that says she has a case of the Mondays?
Oh.
And she's always, saying to people who are cranky on Monday morning, oh, you have a case of the Mondays. So yeah, that's definitely me this morning. The struggle is real, but I'm gonna try and pull it out this morning.
All right.
So glad to have Miss Traci Brown with us this morning. And but before we get to that, as always, we have a little bit of housekeeping to do. The best way to find out who my guest is going to be in advance, it will always be to follow me on social media, which on what is it? On Twitter, it's at Money Talk Mel, and on Facebook, it's at Money Talk with Melanie. If you want to email me about something, tell me about my horrible choice in blouse this morning, which, in looking at it, is a bit regrettable. I'm going to be honest. I went to the closet and I grabbed like whatever was next. And said I'm going to work with it. Is it short sleeved? Is it pressed? Is it clean? I'm in. So that's what we did this morning. But if you want to email me about that, or more importantly, you have a guest you'd like to suggest or something for the 5 minutes of personal finance, email me at moneytalkwithmelanie@gmail.com. And by the way, the 5 minutes of personal finance today, I thought we would talk a little bit more about identity theft, because Traci is going to talk to us this morning about how to detect lies, fraud, and identity theft. So I thought for the 5 minutes of personal finance, we would discuss what to do if your identity is stolen. I thought that might be a good idea. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. If you'd like to call the show for any reason, you'd like to be a guest on the show, you're an expert in your field, or you're an ace, you are an entrepreneur or an author, give me a call at 937-776-6639. By the way, I did Sirius XM again on Friday. I was a guest host for Patriots Tonight on channel 125, Sirius XM Patriots. So if you want to check that on demand, if you have Sirius, you can check that out on demand. It was a 3-hour show. It was a call-in show, news, and I got someone to say the F word. Yay. And really what that means is I just like made somebody really angry. I was uncharacteristically defending Donald Trump. So it was weird for me too. But you know, I know you guys know I voted for him. I have my reasons, but I'm not a huge fan. Just lesser of two evils kind of thing. But anyway, I was talking to a caller and she was like really angry, and I was using like facts and reason, and apparently that really upset her. So you might want really weird how that happened. Well, she tried to tell me the man was dumb, and I'm like, come on, dumb? He's a billionaire. You can't be like dumb. I mean, come on, he's a lot of things. I don't think dumb's one of them. I had to defend the position. But anywho, so if you want to check that out on Sirius 125, check it out on Sirius Patriot 125. Now, Money Talk News Report. According to the Department of Labor and the Wall Street Journal, Americans are much less likely to get laid off, which is fantastic news. And as a matter of fact, the unemployment rate is at like a 16-year low, which is absolutely fantastic news for the workforce. But apparently, once we get jobs, we're staying in them, except for me, who, you know, was a public school teacher and decided in January, you know what, this really isn't for me. And unceremoniously quit in the middle of the school year to do a radio show. It happened. It's a true story. But yeah, apparently that's the case. Hey, remember the Uber guy, the CEO, Travis Kalanick, who I think that's how you pronounce his name, who's just really like, well, the accusations are is that he's like not a good guy and like doesn't really handle women very well. And to be diplomatic, he's trying to get his job back, which, you know, look, I actually don't blame him because he's the founder of the company. I mean, when you found something that's like your child, it's like your baby, and when somebody takes it away, that's kind of rough. Coincidentally, in the news today is Bitcoin. And I've been trying to find an expert to talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general, because it's a huge thing. The time to invest in it was 10 years ago. I'm not going to lie, but investing in it today is better than investing in it tomorrow. But I want to get an expert on to talk about Bitcoin, and there are actually several other currencies, and they were in the news today because, let me see, jumped more than 16%. Let's see, to break 3,000, which tripled its value for the year. That's unprecedented for like almost any kind of investment. So Bitcoin is a huge deal. I actually got a message from a listener in my inbox last week about the very same thing, about Bitcoin. When are you going to talk about these different currencies in Bitcoin? I'm like, I'm working on it, but because it's such a specialized thing, the expert that I get, I really want to be good. And I'm not an expert. Like, I know about it, but I'm not an expert in currencies. Watched a really good TED Talk on it this morning, though, because I'm a nerd like that, and that's what I do in my spare time, is look at TED Talks on Bitcoin. But it was really good. Now, here's something amusing for you for the last Money Talk news report. China's like really excited about their future. Like, you just wouldn't associate that with communism, right? But apparently they took a survey. I mean, because we're, you know, Americans, and we don't really do communism like at all. But they think their future is really bright. Now, I don't know who was standing over them, possibly when they were filling out these surveys, but apparently, according to a survey, 87% of Chinese are see clearly now the rain is gone, and they think life's going to be wonderful really soon. I hope they're right. I wish China the best. Absolutely. So Anywho, when we come back, we're going to be talking to Miss Traci Brown. Very excited to talk to her about lies, about lying. And she, do you know that Traci gives people permission to lie regularly, like all the time? It's like a constant thing with her. She's just telling people to lie all the time. You'll know what I'm talking about when we come back from the break in a few minutes.
Call it the deep state or the unelected administration. We the people had better wake up before America is put to sleep. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, the elitists of big government, the establishment media, and academia are a three-headed monster that is bent on literally destroying our republic. Of course, every thinking American knows that. In fact, that trilogy has been working for decades to turn America into a dictatorship that is far removed from the constitutionally limited republic the founding fathers left us. One can go all the way back to the time of Ingalls and quickly learn how dedicated the globalist elites are in their movement to rule over everyone except themselves. Great men like Presidents Lincoln, McKinley, and Kennedy were murdered for trying to put America and liberty above global tyranny. The deep state or unelected entrenched administration that is being challenged by President Trump is just as evil as those in the past who put McKinley, Lincoln, and Kennedy asunder. My fellow Americans, America the Beautiful is in a literal fight for her survival. We must bring back Americanism and pray for our president, who is loathed by the same type of elitists who also hated McKinley, Lincoln, Kennedy, and Reagan. I'm Ron Edwards. Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the tax benefits of different forms of financing, spot and fix errors in the 1099s, legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Start deducting today. Visit TaxMama.com. TaxMama.com. That's TaxMama with 1M.com.
And we're back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. And we have with us this morning the one and only Traci Brown. She is not only a body language expert and keynote speaker, author, but also a champion athlete. And we're going to talk to her this morning about how to detect lies, fraud, and identity theft. And I have to tell you, when I'm researching her and looking at her information, one of the things that she says that I'm finding a little exciting, and I'm a little on the hot seat today because of this. She says, "What do I know about Chris Christie and Donald Trump?" And I'm like, she's killing me. I'm the first vice chair of the New Jersey Federation of Republican Women. I'm committing political suicide. Do I really want to know? But this is what you need to know about Traci. Today, she is a body language expert. Like I said, she's a leader in training companies to build their bottom line by detecting deception. How important is that in business? She speaks all over the United States and is a frequent guest on TV, interpreting the body language of criminals and politicians. You actually separated those two. And sometimes both labels describe the same person. Indeed. Even helps lawyers pick and persuade a jury using body language, which makes a whole lot of sense. Here are a couple of fun facts about Traci. She got a deal with Kevin Harrington, one of the sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and she's a former member of the U.S. national cycling team. Kudos. Her new book, How to Detect Lies, Fraud, and Identity Theft, is hot off the presses. We're in for some fun today. I'm very excited to introduce to you guys the one and only Ms. Traci Brown. How are you this morning?
I am fantastic.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do video. I know it's a reach.
Oh, yeah. It is a reach. I had to get up early. This doesn't happen easily.
I hear you. And I had to do an audit overnight. So I know. So I had like I don't know, an hour of sleep. It was an unpleasant morning, and we have a chat room that goes along with the show. And the unpleasant blind guy, who was a radio host in his own right, he's not really unpleasant. He's actually a great guy, but he is blind, legally blind. But he's in the chat role this morning, and I was saying to him, I was like, dude, unpleasant, really unpleasant this morning. But so I appreciate you doing video very much this morning, because I know it's tough. But it seems, and as a body language expert, I'm sure you probably agree with that the visual just does a lot more sometimes.
Oh yeah, well they say the body can't lie. Words can lie, body can't lie. So when you take a look at what's I guess beyond the voice, you get the true meaning of the communication.
Now, what I didn't think about till just now, and I used to ask my dad this because he was a psychologist. I'm like, do you psychoanalyze people like everywhere you go? Do you see that person? You're like, oh yeah, that person's a complete nut within like 10 seconds. He's like, no, I don't, honey. But I was just wondering that about you. And as you're watching me, are you like analyzing my body language right now? I probably should have looked up what I should be doing. It's like all positive.
No, you're all right. I couldn't do that. For one, it's a lot easier to do if there's a tense situation. Hopefully we won't go there.
No.
Because when people get stressed, that's when they have a tendency to feelings. I don't see any need for that right now, but I'd be exhausted if I did that everywhere I went. So the answer is no.
Okay, that's good news. I can relax now. Do I look relaxed? I'm just kidding. So how did you start reading body language and detecting lies? When did you decide how did that work out?
Those are two different questions. So I started reading body language and becoming a body language expert before I was even really aware of it. And I was a young bike racer, and I was not doing very well. Bike racing at its core, I guess, is for little people. And I'm a big person. I'm 5'9". And so I had to find a different way to get a jump on my competition. And just naturally, I started reading their body language and correlating that to what was going to happen next, because everybody had their own individual patterns. So I knew when someone was about to attack or take off or try to break away. And some of those people included this guy named Lance. You might have heard of him. And
bicyclist, something. No,
yeah, this guy. But yeah, we grew up racing, in the same circuit in Dallas, and we're on the U.S. National team at the same time. So it was really through trying to keep up with him and guys like him that I began this journey to becoming a body language expert. And I wanted that same level of knowledge when I got into business, and I started getting into the mental aspect of what it took to be great and seeing clients, and I got trained in neurolinguistics and hypnosis and things like that. And that's the first thing they teach you is body language. And I got really good at reading my clients. And so when I decided it was time to speak, all of a sudden I realized that I had this skill set of, and it wasn't what I intended to, be a keynote speaker on, was body language, until a client called me and said, hey, I know you know how to persuade and influence in this strategic body language thing you do. I know you know this. Put together a program and come in. Oh, my clients are all the defense lawyers in Colorado. And so I put together a program for him that he requested on how to pick and persuade a jury on the fly without a focus group. And it really just went from there. And, I always kept refining my skills and reading what I could and talking to all the people that I could about it, experts. And pretty soon I ended up training right alongside some of our country's top law enforcement, like FBI and CIA and things like that, in lie detection. And now that's really my focus when I go to do a keynote is well, I call it Liar Liar Pants on Fire, and it's all about how to pick out who's lying to you. And not all lies are sinister, but they all look the same. Individual to each person, and so it's we answer questions like, okay, does your customer, do they really have the budget that they say they do? Are they really going to buy when they say they are? Are they happy with the options that you've presented them, things like that? And that can go all the way down the line. I just spoke to the Texas Department of Insurance actually last Monday. I was in Austin, and I mean, the things that they're dealing with is $600 million investigation. It is someone lying, and so these are the things that I find myself in the middle of. When the TV's not calling, wanting me to talk about who's ever in the news. So that's kind of my path. That's been my path.
Yeah, your Facebook page is very interesting.
Yeah, Facebook. People can see it on Facebook, and there's always interesting discussions. And just look up body language speaker Traci Brown, and it will it'll come right up. And feel free to join us there for the fun.
It is. I was like, I'm like, do I want to know? Do I want to see this? I don't know if I want to see
like,
this.
Why not know the truth? Why hypnotize ourselves other ways with different propaganda? Just like, there's no need for all the, like, commentary is fun, right? But when you can see the truth a lot of times for yourself in the video of someone telling you they're not lying. It could be anybody these days, Jeff Sessions to anybody in the administration, to any Hollywood actor on TV. I teach people to figure it out for themselves and find the truth.
Oh gosh, yeah. I just thought to myself, on top of everything else, do I really? Do I really want to?
Yeah, you do. Why
told
not?
you the levels to which I'm involved. So
why keep yourself in the dark? Here's the thing. It sounds like you're kind of influential in the party. Why not use that information for good?
Hey, listen, I'm doing my best. Trust me. The struggle is real.
Oh yeah.
The struggle is real daily. The struggle is real.
Absolutely.
But if I had that gift, if I had that talent, I think that would be more helpful. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
I would imagine that would be helpful. Well, let me ask you something. Do you find that the line is a bipartisan thing, or that one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It is. People just say whatever they say to spin the media the way they want to, and then people don't know this information at home, and they, everybody's going to pick what they listen to that matches, what's going on in their head. And really, I got to tell you, what we need right now is a good dose of common sense, which is generally right down the middle. And this extremist thing is because people aren't trained to see the truth, right? You pick what matches your beliefs, and that's what you listen to, and then we ended up with this big split that we have, and in politics. It's pretty divisive right now, but people are like, this is the most divided times in our country's history. No, it wasn't. We had a civil war. Remember that?
Yeah. Civil rights movement. Some people, like, there were literally signs over top of things that said we were divided. So I think
yeah. So what my job is to help people find the truth, which is generally somewhere in between what both parties have to say.
I would agree with that, and that's one thing. When you're a partisan, you're a part of a party, and you're as active as I am, you're expected to always just agree and comply. And I'm not a real good agreer and complier, which is surprising that I'm, where I am in the party, but I'm not the truth is what it is. And as the unpleasant blind guy says, and who's in the chat room says, his tagline is because the truth is sometimes unpleasant.
It is. Well, it is, and people want to promote their agenda, and and to everyone who's outraged right now, it's like everybody, we take turns, right? And it goes back and forth. And you know what? It's Republicans' turn right now, and then it won't be long. It'll be Democrats' turn
again.
Like, let's just relax about this and keep going. Do your best, right? But find the truth. Find the real truth. And when you don't do that is when you can end up spun off into a rage. And I got to tell you, and you probably know this, Melanie, is that when I'm lucky enough to get to hang out with professional politicians, I watched the debate. I literally watched the presidential debates with the Republican leader of Colorado on one side, the Democratic leader on the other side. I was sitting in the middle of them. And you know what? This is just what goes on for them. They don't get outraged. They don't start with the insults. They don't go riot. They go, okay, we're just going to work with this. And to the extent that the rest of us would go there, yes, do you need to be an activist if something's going wrong? But the level of outrage, if we could just be reasonable, would go down, because you can either protest or you can do something about it that's effective.
Indeed. Can you chill? And I try to remind, I have tons of liberal friends in my social media. And, and I say to them, I'm like, guys, we were equally as outraged during the Obama administration. Did you remember us yelling from the rooftops and being really upset? We were this is what we were going through the last 8 years. This is not exclusive to your feelings. We were.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's just the difference in Republicans and Democrats in the way that they handle adversity, in which the Democrats need to raise their game, and because Republicans are just more quiet and go on about their business, and so we take turns. We take turns.
We do. I agree with you on that.
We need to just get with it. We realize it and work within the system and do our best instead of being destructive.
Thank you. I agree, because ultimately, a house that is divided will always fall. That's the problem. And the United States of America is the house. That's what we all need to remember. We're ultimately all on the same team. In my view, we're all on Team America, or at least we're supposed to be, right? So we need to kind of big picture it for a second and say, okay, we still got to figure this out so we can do this together, gang. But it doesn't seem to be working. Let's talk a little bit about identity theft, and identity theft being basically a huge lie. And does it look the same as when someone's normally lying, or are there some nuances that are different?
Well, so here's the thing, and we haven't got into can we table the identity theft thing until we talk about lies in general?
Absolutely.
And then the identity theft thing, it'll come to a point.
Absolutely.
So we don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Indeed. So what about regular lies? What are some indicators?
Okay, so you want to look for when the body language and the words don't match. Okay, so just real simply, there's a lot of different tells. Okay, and I'm going to preface this to say, you don't want to, you don't ever want to incriminate based on one thing you see. You want a cluster of movements, and then you go, okay, wait a minute. And the basis here is the body can't lie. Okay, there's a lot of different kind of lies. There's omissions. There's deceptive denial. There's fabrications. There's a lot of different kind of lies. But we have a new one, right? Alternative facts. That's a new one. So,
oh, Kellyanne, that was.
I know.
That's my.
I actually tried to buy alternativefacts.com when I heard that, and someone beat me to it. I was like, darn it.
She's from New Jersey. She's from 40 minutes from me, and and she's really good. That was bad idea.
Anyway, so there's all these different kind of lies, right? And the body can't lie. It doesn't matter which one you're doing. So generally, like if you nod your head yes, and this is for Americans, like Western society, right? This is yes. This is no. Okay, so if you say, you got to look for when the body language and the words don't match. So if it's, I would never do that, right? So then you have a clue, right? Or you could ask me anything, right? I had a client do that the other day, and I said, "What are you hiding? Like, what are you hiding?"
Do you just say that outright? Like if you run into that, especially in business?
Oh, don't say it outright. This was someone who I know has been through training with me. And see, the thing is, it's all deeply unconscious. You can't stop it, right? And that's the key, because a lot of things go on in our head when we're lying, right? You got to remember the story. You have to like lies aren't connected to emotion, right? So you have to build the emotion in. You have to gauge how you're being received by the other person. Do you need to ramp it up a little bit, or are you okay, right? So there's all these factors that come into play when we lie, and the thing that falls off the table is our body language. Like we can't control that. Now, politicians, when we get into debates and things like that, because it's funny when like, these debates are hilarious, because the moderator asks a question, politician just talks about whatever they want.
Oh yeah. And, oh no, they're not talking about whatever they want. They're pivoting. in politics, that's a pivot. It's perfectly acceptable to totally not answer the question that you were asked.
Exactly. So, anyway, they have spent hours and hours and hours rehearsing. And so they're able to rub out a lot of the really overt signs. But what you want to look for is when they get off script. And that's when you can start to see what they really believe and what they don't, because their body language will just change. And it's fascinating to watch and roll the tapes back and forth and things like that. So
well, every politician, especially the biggest one, like totally stays on script. So you've had no material to work with at all.
Well, yeah, and yeah, our president, I'm a lot like you, and say, okay, wait a minute, I had some high hopes here, and he's not pulling off, he's not being elegant about what he's doing, and so
I love what you just said. He's not being elegant about. Thank you. I'm totally stealing that from now on.
All right,
he needs to be more elegant.
Yeah, so he's not, and that's a big part of his challenge is communication. No matter how well intended, if you communicate the wrong way, and in any arena, you're going to get a response like we're seeing now, which is 30-something% approval rate, if you can believe the polls, which we found out that we can't. Recently. So you want to look for discrepancies in the body language, right? You want to look for things like, do they cover their mouth? Like when you ask them a very pointed question that could be discriminating, do they cover their mouth and then answer the question? That's holding back, right? Or when their lips disappear, like that. We saw that from Tom Brady when in Deflategate. You remember Deflategate?
Oh, yes.
And I use this video in my talks. When you watch him in his first interview or his first press conference about these 2 pounds of air in the football, they said, "Are you a cheater?" It was point blank. "Are you a cheater?" He smiled really big. And he rolled his lips in. And he said, "I don't believe so." It's like, so there's 3 hot spots right there, like 3. So for one, when someone asks a very incriminating question, yes or no question, and you smile really big, there's a term for that. It's called duper's delight. And that says somewhere deep down inside, he thinks he's getting away with it. And remember, it's deeply unconscious, because the answer to, "Are you a cheater?" is not, "I don't believe so." That says he's got some gray area somewhere. No, and I found out what that gray area was, because I'm here in near Denver. One of the Broncos coaches was in one of my talks last year, pulled me aside when I was done and said, "Do you want to know what he meant?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And he said, he's for years and years and years, kickers in the NFL have been putting air in the ball. Quarterbacks have been taking air out. just what went on. So the I don't believe so was a gray area. He didn't do anything anybody else didn't do. He made someone mad somewhere along the line. They turned him in, and there you go, right? And the answer is not I don't believe so. The answer is hell no. I'm
right.
not. Right there,
right.
So you can see just that one question that the lies that have stacked up there. So so you got to watch for these little bitty things that people do that look natural and seem natural, but when you watch for them with a new eye, you can find the truth, which is what we were talking about before. When in any situation, whether it's politics or the news, it's like find the truth for yourself. Find the video, watch what is the truth, and then you don't have to be part of all the stress and all the commentary that the news gives us. You can find your own.
I love that. We're up against the break. When we come back, can we talk a little bit about about identity theft and how to detect it? That would be awesome. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is we have Traci Brown, body language expert, champion athlete, TED Talk speaker. I'm such a nerd. I just like TED Talk speakers are just like rock stars to me. Like, yeah, Beyonce's awesome, but like TED Talk speaker, that's me. So I absolutely love it. We'll be back in a few moments.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe, plus Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. It's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com. The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio. The best late-night conservative talk show in America. And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcast. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Okay, we are back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. And we have with us this morning Traci Brown, body language expert, TED Talk speaker extraordinaire. And she's given us all the ins and outs about how to detect lies and lying and liars. Lying liars from Liar Town. And very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. I'm excited about this. So we talked about how you detect lying. How is that related to identity theft? And that was another angle that I found really interesting. And tell us a little bit about your book while you're at it.
Got it. So I go over this in my book. It's called, hang on, I'll get a picture of it here for you.
We're getting visual.
Here you go.
Oh, nice.
How to detect lies, fraud, and identity theft. So this is written, it's a field guide. Like, it is quick. If you want a big old long book that is hard to read, it's going to take you forever, and you're not going to finish anyway, don't buy this book. If you want a book that's quick, you can keep with you in your briefcase or whatever, and do a quick reference on, oh man, I just saw this, and like, how did it all come together? Then it's a book for you. And so I work a lot in finance and banking and insurance and things like that. And so these folks need to be able to detect identity theft, especially frontline workers, tellers, loan officers, the clerks at a payday loan store. Like, all of these people need to be able to detect identity theft. And so you're going to see some of the same signs that we saw, and we just like barely skimmed the surface, right? Some of these same signs that we talked about in the last clip or last segment, about when you ask someone, hey, because let's talk about baselining. You have to have a baseline on people, right? So how are they going to behave in a certain situation? When it significantly shifts, that's when you call it a hotspot and go, wait a minute, they're really stressed. Is this connected to a lie? And so, however, some people are really, really good at it, like the psychopath kind of folks,
nice.
Sociopath, psychopath, because they can't really tell the difference. And there's like 10 to 15% of us are in that zone.
So wait a minute,
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I just want to ask you a question about that. So what I hear you saying is, I want to make sure that I'm clear on this, that if you're a psychopath and your lines are blurred, if you will, as to what the truth is, or the difference between a truth and a lie, or even the morale, like truth and lies having the same moral standing to you, then your body language is going to reflect that.
Your body language may not reflect lies like it will with the rest of us.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I didn't want to gloss over that point.
Yeah. Well, it's true, right? And we have a little bit of that in politics right now, and which is making things tough.
Nice narcissists and psychopaths in politics. I can't imagine.
Weird, huh? Anyway,
so strange.
So point being is that when you get that baseline on people and you kind of know how they behave, which means you need to get them in a conversation. Okay, just say, hey, how's it been going today? What have you been doing? Where you been? Like these, like appropriate conversations for the context of where you are. And then if you have your frontline people, and let's say they're typing in your name for some kind of application, either a credit card application, maybe a payday loan application, maybe a bank account, maybe a business loan. And if you have your people, you or your people you're in charge of, that are head in the screen, not watching the people as they ask these questions, then you're losing a vital piece of information. Okay, because the answer should look the same. The way people answer should look the same to their name and their address and their age, like the more important things, and how they're going to pay back this loan. If let's say it's a construction loan, how are they going to pay back this loan while their business is under construction? The answers should look pretty similar to the way they respond, right? With the way their eyes go, with the way their head nods, like these kinds of things. And then that answer should be the same, look the same as what's your dog's name.
Okay.
Right? And so what's your favorite color, right? like these things, it should look very similar. And when it doesn't, that's when you go, okay, wait a minute, something's going on here. Now, here's the rub with identity theft. If it may look all the same, and sometimes you can't tell, right? Sometimes you can't tell if they're good and they've practiced a little bit, and so it's either going to look all the same, or you're going to have a bunch of discrepancies. So it'll just give you one more layer of defense against that. Like if you're picking it out. So are you going to be able to pick it out every time? No, not even the cops can do that. But you need to be heads up for when the red flags are being waved right in front of you and you're not paying attention.
So some of the tells are like seriously obvious. And I guess especially if it's I would think most people are novices when it comes to realizing that their body language is off. Like what they're saying is not matching their body language.
Well, I'm going to say yes, but let's back up. The ability for us to detect lies, our survival has depended on that for millions of years as a species, right? Because we needed to know, can we trust who's in front of us or not, right? Do they have a dagger up their sleeve or not, right? Like these kinds of things. It goes way back. So that ability is in us. What's happened in our modern day and times is that we start to not trust what's already built in. And so my job is to put some science and some hard facts to that, because all this is studied, and there's a reason that it's used so heavily in law enforcement.
Right.
Because there's a lot of truth to it. There's an art and a science to it, right? And remember, you can't incriminate on one thing, but you have to know when you need to ask more questions. And you can start to say, wow, you know what? It seems like you got more to say about that, right? And start to pull this information out of folks. Let them know that, wait a minute, I'm on to you, and you may be fine. You know what? You may be fine. You may have just picked up some nervousness. It's common for people to be nervous, like when they go into a bank for a big loan. And so you may have just picked up on that, but you may have picked up on a lot more, and you need to make sure that that you're, even individual loan officers, like what we're having now with banks is a lot of centralized lending. So the loan officer kind of sniffs out the customer and then sends everything in to I don't know, the department.
Right.
And it's that extra information that you can pick up. That's the important information. It's not just what's written down on any application. In the banking is just one example. It happens in a lot of industries. In sales, are they lying over the negotiation table about what they can really do for you at a certain cost, right? These are the things that it's built in that you can pick it up. I put some science behind it so you can start to trust again.
Yeah, with technology and everything being what it is, I feel like now, everything has to have some app, some technology backup or some science to it. Otherwise, we don't believe it. When, the survival of our species thus far, a lot has to do with our God-given gut. You know what I mean?
I know, totally.
Our instinct.
Yeah.
Listen, where can people find your book if they want to know how to?
My book is on Amazon. It's also on my website, bodylanguagetrainer.com. That's bodylanguagetrainer.com. And when you go there, you'll see all my other books and stuff. I do a lot with persuasion and influence. And the kit that I put together for Kevin Harrington on Shark Tank is there. So you can get that. And it just depends. I mean, this is a rabbit hole. The question is, how deep do you want to go? I mean, do you really want to know what's across from you? Do you really want to be able to strategically persuade and influence and get to yes? I mean, who doesn't behave, and who doesn't want to get the person across from them to say yes in any situation? I even got a system to talk your way out of a traffic ticket when you get pulled over. And it really works. I get calls all the time about people who've never gotten out of a ticket who use this system, and it works. I even have an in-car guide that you keep in your visor.
That's great.
It totally
See,
works.
I've been relying on Q, but
yeah. It's not about lying. It's about making yourself seem safe and understanding the context that you're in, right? And some people, they, if you don't do it, it won't work, for sure, right?
I like it. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the show. We have a minute to close, so I got to thank everybody, including you. And thank you so much for doing the video.
It's fun.
I know it can be tough, especially early in the morning. You're like, "What? I don't want to put on makeup on. Don't do any of this." So I appreciate it so very much, and it just really helped my audience out. I'm sure to see you as well as hear you talk about it, so we could read your body language.
And there's a free report on my website too. If you give me your email, and you'll be on my mailing list, and once a month you'll know about lies, and you'll get my free report. So yeah, Body Language Trainer. Go there and find the truth for yourself.
Terrific. Thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. You have a great day.
You too.
That was Traci Brown, everybody, body language expert. And I'm so glad that you liked her unpleasant blind guy, Mr. Dave Milner. She was fantastic. I just thought it was an interesting topic, and I like to do things that are a little bit different. As business-wise, every now and then, just think outside the box a little bit. And I thought she was pretty good too. I mean, those are things that you don't think about in business, little nuances that you don't think about that can help your business. I want to thank people in the chat. I want to thank everyone who is listening today. Remember, all of this is very important because it's your money.